I am new to Reddit and I want some advice regarding my situation with my in-laws. I, 27F, have been with my fiancé Henry, 27M, for 10 years. We met in high school and started dating when we were both 17. Our love story began when we were paired up for a chemistry project. Henry was the popular guy everyone liked while I was the quiet bookworm. Despite our different social circles, we clicked instantly. Things were great between us initially, but our relationship faced problems because of his family from the very beginning. Henry is the only son surrounded by 4 sisters: Amanda, 32F, Jen, 30F, Sarah, 25F, and Lucy, 23F. His parents, especially his mom Linda, 55F, had always been overprotective of him since he was their only son. When we first started dating, his family took an immediate disliking to me. I noticed how differently I was treated compared to his sister's boyfriends. They were always welcomed warmly while I was met with cold stares and fake smiles. His family was very controlling and would often criticize me for the smallest things. I remember the first time I went to their house for dinner. I brought a homemade apple pie as a gesture of goodwill since Henry had mentioned it was his mom's favorite. However, Linda made snide remarks about how store-bought would have been better since my crust was too thick. She then proceeded to throw the entire pie in the trash right in front of me, claiming it probably wasn't safe to eat homemade food from someone she barely knew. I was hurt but stayed quiet to avoid causing any drama. Throughout our relationship, I tried my best to bond with his family. I was always polite, made an effort for every occasion, and tried to spend time with them despite never actually wanting to. I would help Linda with household chores whenever she asked, attended every family gathering, and even tried to befriend his sisters. But nothing I did was ever good enough for them. One incident that particularly stands out happened during Christmas 3 years ago. I had spent weeks hand-knitting scarves for everyone in the family. When they opened their gifts, his sisters exchanged looks and started laughing. Later I heard them in the kitchen mocking my gifts, saying they looked like they were made by a child and wondering if I was too poor to buy proper presents. They had no idea I had spent my entire Christmas bonus on expensive perfumes for them, which I had planned to give them on New Year's. I ended up returning those perfumes. I often overheard them talking about me in other rooms. They would make cruel comments about my appearance, calling me too skinny and saying Henry deserved someone prettier. His sisters would exclude me from their conversations during family gatherings and whisper among themselves while glancing at me. Once during Thanksgiving, I went to use the bathroom and overheard Amanda and Jen discussing how I probably had an eating disorder and that's why I was so skinny. They wondered if Henry was embarrassed to be seen with someone who looked like a teenager. When I told Henry about these incidents, he confronted them but they denied everything and claimed I was being paranoid. Things got worse when Henry and I moved in together 3 years ago. His family, especially his mom and sisters, became even more demanding. They constantly wanted Henry to help them with various tasks, cleaning their houses, driving them places, paying for their shopping, fixing their cars, or helping with home repairs. It didn't matter if Henry had work or if we had plans, they expected him to drop everything and help them. Last month, we had planned a romantic weekend getaway for our anniversary but had to cancel it because Sarah needed help moving to her new apartment. She had known about her moving date for months but deliberately scheduled it on our anniversary weekend. Henry started getting annoyed with their constant demands, but the more he said no, the worse they got. They would guilt trip him saying things like, "But we're family," or "This is how you treat your mother after everything I've done for you?" His sisters would call him crying about how he's changed since meeting me and how I've turned him against his family. Once, Jen called him at midnight claiming she had an emergency. When Henry rushed to her house, it turned out she just wanted him to kill a spider in her bathroom. We got engaged 2 months ago and I thought things would get better, but they've only gotten worse. His family has taken over our wedding planning completely. Linda and his sisters have already decided who will be bridesmaids without even asking me. They added all 4 sisters plus their 3 female cousins to the bridal party, completely ignoring the fact that I have my own sisters and friends. They created a guest list of over 300 people, mostly their friends and distant relatives I'd never met. When we picked a beautiful garden venue for our wedding, they criticized it, saying it wasn't grand enough, and insisted we should have the wedding at an expensive hotel they chose. They even tried to change my wedding dress choice. I had found a beautiful simple dress that I loved, but Linda insisted on taking me shopping again. She picked out elaborate princess-style dresses that weren't my style at all, and when I politely declined, she started crying in the middle of the boutique saying I was disrespecting their family traditions. The final straw came last week when Linda demanded we change our honeymoon destination from Bali to somewhere closer so Henry could attend his cousin's baby shower. When we refused, his sisters started bombarding us with messages calling me selfish and saying I was taking their brother away from them. They even created a family group chat without me to discuss how I was ruining their family dynamics. Henry supports me, but I can see how torn he is between his family and me. He loves them despite their behavior and finds it hard to stand up to them completely. Last night, after another argument about the wedding venue, he suggested maybe we should consider their hotel choice to keep the peace. This made me realize that this pattern might continue forever. I love Henry, but I'm terrified about what my future looks like with his family. I worry about how they'll treat me when we have children. Will they try to control our parenting decisions? Will they poison our kids against me? Will every holiday and special occasion turn into a battle? I already feel anxious whenever we have to attend family gatherings. I feel like this has gone on for too long to start setting boundaries now. My friends suggest couples counseling, but Henry thinks we can handle this on our own. I don't know what to do anymore. Should I call off the wedding? Am I overreacting? Please help me figure out what to do. Update 1. I wanted to update everyone on my situation as things have escalated dramatically since my last post. Last weekend, Henry and I had dinner at his parents' house where Linda dropped a bombshell that turned our entire world upside down. The evening started normally, with Linda's usual passive-aggressive comments about my cooking when I offered to help in the kitchen. She kept bringing up her friend's daughter Jessica, who apparently makes amazing lasagna and would have made a perfect wife for Henry. I ignored these comments as usual and focused on helping with dinner preparations. During dinner, Linda announced that she needed to discuss something important with Henry. She then revealed that she was planning to change her will and remove Henry from it unless he agreed to certain conditions. The conditions were ridiculous. We had to move closer to them, preferably in the same neighborhood, have mandatory weekly family dinners at their house every Sunday, and let her have a say in all our major life decisions, including where we work, how we spend our money, and how we raise our future children. Henry was stunned. He put down his fork and asked his mom if she was serious. Linda started crying, saying she was doing this because she loved him and wanted to keep the family together. His sisters immediately joined in the emotional manipulation. Amanda started sobbing about how Henry never makes time for them anymore. Sarah complained about how he missed her dog's birthday party last month. Yes, they actually threw a birthday party for her dog. Lucy accused me of isolating Henry from his family. The situation got even more intense when Amanda suddenly claimed she had proof that I was cheating on Henry. My heart nearly stopped when she pulled out her phone and showed Henry some photos of me having lunch with Jake, a male colleague from work. The photos were taken without my knowledge and completely twisted out of context. This was a team lunch with 5 other co-workers to celebrate completing a big project, but the photos were carefully taken to make it look like I was alone with Jake. There were photos of me laughing at something Jake said, and another where he was handing me some documents which Amanda claimed was proof of our secret relationship. They had even followed me to my office and taken photos of Jake and me talking in the parking lot. I couldn't believe they had gone to such lengths to try to break us up. Henry initially seemed shocked looking at the photos. His face went pale and I could see doubt creeping into his eyes. For a moment, my heart sank thinking he might actually believe their lies. But when I explained the situation and offered to show him the group email about the team lunch, he believed me immediately. I even showed him photos from the lunch that I had taken, which clearly showed our other co-workers present. His family was not happy that their plan failed. Linda started screaming about how I had brainwashed her son. Jen accused me of having Henry wrapped around my little finger. Sarah even suggested that I was only with Henry for his potential inheritance, which is ridiculous because we both work in tech and make good money. I had never even known about any inheritance until that moment. The dinner completely fell apart at this point. Linda gave Henry an ultimatum: either break up with me and stay in the will, or lose his inheritance, which apparently included not just money but also his grandfather's lake house where we had our first date. It was a special place for Henry as he had spent many summers there with his grandfather before he passed away. To my relief and surprise, Henry didn't even hesitate. He stood up, looked his mother in the eye, and told her that he chose me over any inheritance. He said he would rather live in a tiny apartment with me than in a mansion without me. We left immediately after that, leaving his family in shocked silence. However, this wasn't the end of the drama. Since that dinner, his sisters have been spreading vicious rumors about me in our social circle. They've been telling people that I'm a gold digger who trapped their brother and that I have multiple affairs. Some mutual friends have started acting distant, and I've received several nasty messages on social media from their friends and relatives. Someone even called my workplace trying to get me fired by making false accusations about my character. Henry has been supportive through all this, but I can see how much it's affecting him. He's lost weight and isn't sleeping well. I often hear him pacing in the middle of the night. Yesterday, he suggested postponing the wedding until things calm down. While I understand his perspective and know he's just trying to protect us from more drama, I'm hurt that he wants to delay our plans because of his family's behavior. I'm torn about what to do next. On one hand, I don't want to postpone the wedding because it feels like letting his family win. If we give into this, what else will we have to give up in the future to keep them happy? On the other hand, I hate seeing Henry so stressed and unhappy. Maybe some time would help everyone calm down and accept our relationship. I don't know if I should agree to postpone the wedding or stand my ground. I feel like giving into this would just be the start of a lifetime of letting his family control our decisions. Please help me figure out what to do. Update: 2 things took an unexpected turn last week. I was at work when I received an anonymous email containing screenshots of conversations between Henry's sisters in their family group chat. As I scrolled through the messages, I felt my stomach drop. These screenshots revealed their elaborate plan to break us up, and it was far worse than I had imagined. The sisters had hired a woman named Rachel to flirt with Henry at his workplace and try to seduce him. According to their messages, they had specifically chosen her because she looked similar to Henry's ex-girlfriend from college. They had been planning this for weeks, sharing Rachel's photos and discussing how to make it look natural. They had even created a fake company profile so Rachel could pose as a client at Henry's consulting firm. Their plan was to get compromising photos of Henry with Rachel and send them to me. Amanda had written about how they would make it look like Henry was cheating on me, hoping I would call off the wedding in anger. Sarah suggested having Rachel show up at our wedding in tears, claiming to be pregnant with Henry's baby. The level of manipulation they were willing to go to was shocking. I was devastated but decided not to confront them immediately. Instead, I showed the screenshots to Henry when he got home. His face went through a range of emotions: shock, hurt, anger, and finally, resignation. That's when he admitted that a new client at his office, who matched Rachel's description, had been unusually friendly with him lately. She had asked him out for coffee several times, which he had declined, saying he was engaged. We decided to gather more evidence before confronting his family. Henry agreed to pretend interest in coffee with Rachel while I hired a private investigator to follow them. It was expensive, but I needed solid proof. The Pi followed them to a cafe where, as suspected, his sisters were there taking photos from different angles. They had positioned themselves strategically, Amanda near the window, Jen at the counter, and Sarah outside pretending to talk on the phone. The Pi recorded everything, including Rachel's staged attempts to get close to Henry, touching his arm and laughing excessively at everything he said. The most damning evidence was a video of them paying Rachel in the parking lot afterward. Lucy handed her an envelope while Jen kept watch. When we confronted his family with this evidence at their house, their reactions were telling. Initially, they tried to deny everything until we showed them the video. Then they switched to justifying their actions, saying they were just trying to protect Henry from making a huge mistake by marrying me. Linda even had the audacity to say that if Henry could be tempted by another woman, it proved I wasn't right for him. She completely ignored the fact that Henry had repeatedly turned down Rachel's advances before we set up the sting operation. This was the final straw for Henry. He finally saw how toxic his family truly was. The hurt in his eyes when he realized the extent of their manipulation was heartbreaking. He told them that they had lost him forever by trying to destroy his happiness. Linda tried to backtrack, saying it was all a misunderstanding and they just wanted what was best for him. But Henry wasn't buying it anymore. We decided to file a harassment complaint with the police about the hired woman incident. We also gave them the evidence of them stalking me at my workplace during the lunch incident. The police took our complaint seriously, especially after seeing the organized nature of their harassment. The fallout was immediate. Rachel, when questioned by the police, admitted everything and showed them the payment receipts from Henry's sisters. She apologized to us, saying she needed the money and didn't realize how far they would take it. Henry's sisters tried to reach out to mutual friends to defend their actions, but the evidence was too damning. Most people were disgusted by their behavior. Even their own husbands and boyfriends were shocked when they found out what they had done. We're now proceeding with our wedding plans, but with major changes. None of Henry's sisters will be bridesmaids, and his family is not invited. Henry says he finally feels free from their manipulation, but I know it hurts him deeply that his own family would go to such lengths to ruin his happiness. Update 3: A lot has happened since my last update, and I wanted to share how things turned out. It's been 3 months since we went no contact with Henry's family, and our lives have improved significantly. We got married in a small, intimate ceremony last month with just my family and our close friends. The wedding was beautiful and peaceful, exactly what we wanted from the beginning. However, Henry's family tried their best to ruin even this moment. They somehow found out about our wedding date and venue despite our best efforts to keep it secret. On our wedding day, all 4 sisters and Linda showed up at the venue in black dresses, claiming they had a right to be there as Henry's family. They created a scene at the entrance, crying and begging Henry to stop making a huge mistake. Linda even brought Henry's grandfather's ashes in an urn, saying he would be devastated to see his grandson abandon his family like this. Thankfully, we had anticipated something like this might happen and had hired extra security. They escorted his family out before any of our guests could see the drama unfold. We only heard about it afterward from the security team. Our ceremony went perfectly, and we danced our first dance to the song that was playing during our first date 10 years ago. After the wedding, we moved to a different city for Henry's new job opportunity. The move has given us the much-needed space from his family. However, they haven't stopped trying to contact us. They create new email addresses and social media accounts almost weekly to send us messages. Linda has been telling relatives that I forced Henry to cut off contact with them and that I've turned him against his family. Some distant relatives have tried to guilt-trip Henry, saying his mom cries herself to sleep every night. His sisters even showed up at our new apartment once, but our building has good security and didn't let them in. We found out they had gotten our address from Henry's old college friend who thought he was helping the family reconcile. Henry has started therapy to deal with his family issues and is doing much better now. He says he regrets not standing up to them sooner but is grateful that their true colors came out before we had kids. The therapist helped him understand that his family's behavior wasn't normal and that setting boundaries doesn't make him a bad son. Last week, Henry received a letter from his family's lawyer about his grandfather's lake house. Apparently, his grandfather had left it directly to Henry in a separate will that his mother couldn't change. His family had been lying about their control over this inheritance. When Henry went to claim the property, he found out they had been renting it out and keeping the money for themselves for years. We're now renovating the lake house to make it our weekend home. It feels like poetic justice that the one thing they tried to use to manipulate us is now becoming our sanctuary away from them. We're looking forward to starting our new life together, away from all the toxicity. We've talked about having children in the future and agree that they won't have any contact with Henry's family unless they show real change and remorse for their actions. Sometimes the best family isn't the one you're born into, but the one you choose to create. I'm grateful that Henry chose me and our future together over their manipulation and control. I want to thank everyone who supported me through this difficult time. Your advice helped me stay strong and not doubt myself when things got tough. Trust your instincts, and don't let toxic family members control your life, no matter how much they try to guilt you into submission.